Al Floss presents the complete and alarming history of America's greatest garage band, the Stools.
Hey, like every other kid in the 50s, I mean, we loved the music of the Stools. The Stools were it. Elvis Presley, move over. It was kind of like a secret club. We knew when we were dancing, we weren't really dancing. I mean, we were fantasizing. You'd hold it real close and yeah, but it was like a secret club. Nobody else knew what we were thinking. And then it turns out everybody in the world knew what we were thinking. The girls knew what we were thinking. We knew what we were thinking. When we talked about it after, the girls talked about it after, and you know, it was like, it wasn't a secret club. We thought it was. Who knew that they were doing that for centuries, like Bach and Ravel and all those great composers. Those songs were all sex too. But it's like, it went deeper than that with the Stools though. It wasn't, I mean, here we were innocently thinking about getting laid, but apparently there was some subtext going on there, some subterfuge, is that the right word? It was like there's some evil, sinister stuff going on. We didn't know that. I mean, who knew that it was this kind of, I don't know, like, did you see that movie, The Exorcist? It was like, maybe that kind of stuff, but we didn't know that. We were just kids trying to get laid. It was like, I don't know, now I kind of feel flummoxed. I mean, does it really come as a shock to anyone that the Stools were on set when Michael Jackson's head got caught on fire while he was filming that soda ad? Or that Cosmo gave Sinead O'Connor that picture of the Pope before she went on Saturday Night Live? Remember, she got in all that trouble in '91 or something? Or that Elvin Anderson got Melissa Etheridge drunk and convinced her that David Crosby was Rosie O'Donnell, and that's how Etheridge's wife got knocked up? Okay, that one might not be true, but that's what I heard. And I'm also finding out now that Antonio Moretti was holding the camera the night that Pamela Lee Anderson and Tommy Lee filmed that sex video. I mean, back in 1996. And who can forget the video that Antonio made with Belinda Carlisle and the Go-Go's when they did that thing with their roadies back in 1980, when the Go-Go's were still hot? And who do you think taught Chuck Berry how to rig up the video camera? Chuck didn't know anything about technical stuff. Rigged it right up in his restaurant's ladies' room. I mean, think about it. Rock has always been in league with the devil. That's a given. I mean, Black Sabbath building altars to Lucifer at their concerts. Stevie Nicks openly dedicates her shows to the witches of the world. Look at Savoy Brown's Hellbound Train. Motley Crue's God Bless the Children of the Beast. I mean, all Todd Rundgren's Tiny Demons. And don't get me started on backmasking. You know, that's when they play the records backwards and you hear all the real stuff that's going on in the music. From the Beatles and their hidden backwards messages, songs like Rain, and even in that last grave robbing song of theirs, Free as a Bird, to the anarcho-punk pop socialist collective Chumbawamba with their black masked blasphemy and Hail Marys? Are you kidding me? Rock is filled with signs, but you gotta know where to look. Bands as different and diverse as Judas Priest, the Jay Giles Band even, Missy Elliott, Oasis, L7, Roger Waters, of course, and even Bob and Doug McKenzie all dabbled in it. Queen's Another One Bites the Dust. You know about that. The Eagles, Hotel California. Play that one backwards. Gonna Raise Hell by Cheap Trick. They all contain hidden, backmasked, satanic, evil messages. But the thing about the Stools, they hid in plain sight. I mean, you always knew what they were up to. Take the thing they did on Brazilian TV, the Sissy Boy slap fight song. I mean, Alvin, right in front of everybody, for gazillions of Hispanic, is Brazil Hispanic? For gazillions of all of these people in Brazil to just see. It was like the devil coming right out there, speaking Spanish and in tongues. It was horrible.
All right. Now I know what you're thinking. Middle-class white guy shouldn't be playing the blues. See, to play the blues, you have to suffer. A deep, 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 deep down suffer. To really play the authentic blues, you have to be a trust fund baby worth well over $1 million. And then what you gotta do is put together a hobby band filled with B and C level rock stars. And then you can play the blues. Now I ain't no trust fund baby. You guys ain't no rock stars. But we're gonna play the blues. And you seem interested, so I'm going to tell you why we're going to play the blues. See, there used to be this old voodoo legend. If you took a cat, you boiled off his fur and his skin and his muscles and his sinews till you got down to the bone. And if you took them bones down to the creek, not a creek, it had to be a creek. Fortunately, in Cohasset, we have a creek on the other side of the tracks. You take those bones down to the creek and you put them in the water, and if one of the bones, preferably the left front foot bone, floats upstream, well, that's the bone that has the power to grant the wishes. Anything you want, fame, fortune, love, whatever it is. And then you take that bone down to the crossroads and you make the deal with the devil. Well, no matter how much I hate cats, I don't think I could stick one in boiling water till I get to his bone. So I went on down to Clarksdale, Mississippi, where legend has it the great Robert Johnson, at the intersections of Route 61 and 47, brought his bones, made his deal with the devil. So I went on down there empty-handed, Clarksdale, Mississippi. Crossroads of 61 and 47. And right there is the Delta Blues Museum, owned by the Reverend Billy Gibbons of the ZZ Top. So it's got to be authentic. They got a lot of good things down in Clarksdale, Mississippi. They got a tour bus that'll take you out to the shack Muddy Waters used to live in when he picked cotton back in 1915. They'll take you over to the street corner where Johnny Lee Hooker and Sun Ra, they used to play for pennies. They'll even take you down to the shoe store where Ike Turner gets his shoes to beat Tina with. They got it all in Clarksdale, Mississippi. So I went on in to the Blues Museum, owned by the Reverend Billy Gibbons of the ZZ Top. And I went to the gift shop and I got me a deal with the devil starter kit, complete with plastic cat bones. Because apparently there's a Chinese restaurant around the corner and there ain't no live cats to be found for miles around. And then I went out to the crossroads of 61 and 47 and got in line with all the other tourists waiting to make a deal with the devil with their plastic cat bones. And we all stood around trying to pretend we weren't tourists. And eventually, the devil showed up. Actually, he was about 45 minutes late. Fool thought he was Sly Stone or something. Matter of fact, he looked a little bit like Sly Stone. But I digress. So we all genuflected in front of the devil. And we all made our deals for whatever it was we wanted. And I got up there and it was just like the movie Crossroads. The one with Ralph Macchio, not the one with Britney Spears. Although Britney Spears probably did make a deal with the devil herself. A lot of people in Hollywood made deals with the devil. How else would you explain Jay-Z, Billy Ray Cyrus, Molly Ringwald, anybody who wasn't Bill Cosby on The Cosby Show, David Caruso? I mean, come on. So I made my deal with the devil. Unfortunately, the truth of the matter is, Robert Johnson never made no deal with the devil in Clarksdale, Mississippi. He did it down the road in a town called Hazelhurst, Mississippi. Just the Clarksdale Chamber of Commerce figured they could usurp it, no one would notice, so they put up a sign. Billy Gibbons put up a museum. Which is all well and good, because you're talking about making a deal with the devil anyway. But the problem is, because I wasn't standing in the right place to make my deal with the devil, he only taught me this one chord, which is why there's only one chord in this song. But we're gonna play it for all it's worth. Please don't forget to tip your waiter, or he's gonna get pissed. If you go to your car, don't matter who you are, he's gonna hit you with a closed fist. Sissy boy slap fight. Sissy boy slap fight.
Billy, these deep-fried Chinese buttered cheese balls are so crunchy and chock full of flavor. You've just got to tell me how you do it.
No can do, Miss Wilson. It's ancient Chinese secret.
Oh.
Hey, Billy, we're almost out of lad.
Ancient Chinese secret, huh?
Got lad?
I mean, from Jump Street, it's been pretty obvious that satanic music and the military-industrial complex have been in cahoots all along, in lockstep with each other. Controlling rock with drugs and sex and murder and violence, if necessary. It's like when the Beatles first came to the United States in 1964. Remember all that hullabaloo the press showed you? The mobs of screaming girls waiting for the Beatles at the airport, and they heralded the arrival of Beatlemania. Of course, what the press did not tell you was that those girls were all from a local boarding school, the Cheryl Bogart Wagaman School for Girls. And they had been paid to stand around and scream at the band they never even heard of. The Beatles were on Capitol Records in the US, and Capitol Records was a subsidiary of EMI. So follow me here. EMI stands for Electrical and Mechanical Instruments. They don't just create records. EMI is one of the world's largest producers of military electronics. In the mid-60s, they had over 75,000 employees and profits of over $3 billion. Okay, so let's look at the Beatles for a minute. There's a phrase called phonetic reversal. It's when a phrase gets reversed and becomes a different phrase. Now here's an example. As the Beatles showed us, number nine, remember that? Number 9's phonetic reversal is turn me on, dead man. So if you were to take the word kiss, its phonetic reversal is 6. I mean, is it any wonder that Yoko has that song Kiss, 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 which is a reversal of 666, the number of the beast? What does this all have to do with the Stools? First thing is you got to ask yourself, who pushed Chet Baker out that window? Who loaded Johnny Ace's gun? Who hid Jeff Buckley's water wings? I think we know. Who pushed Sandy Denny down those steps? She wasn't drunk. Who loaded Terry Kath's gun? Who hid Randy California's water wings when he was trying to save his kid? I mean, it's obvious. Who pushed Rory Storm? Who loaded Selena's fan club's president's gun? Who hid Brian Jones's water wings? These guys, the Stools, that's who. Lady Gaga claims the spirit of a dead aunt is living inside of her. Joni Mitchell tells Time magazine 1974 she's controlled by a male muse named Art. Brian Wilson described his music with the Beach Boys as witchcraft music. Do you remember Carlos Santana claiming to have been in touch with an angel named Metatron back in 1994? Bob Dylan admits in 60 Minutes that he made a deal with the devil, whom he calls Chief. As Eminem said so poetically in his rhythm rap, Goodbye Hollywood. Let's see if I remember the words. If I could go back, I never would have rapped. I sold my soul to the devil. I'll never get it back. And you know, I've thought about this heavily. Rock music's attack on America was four phases. From 1955, when I was in high school, to 1962, it was evil, driven by sex. Elvis, that's the Presley Elvis. Chuck Berry, Buddy Holly, all helping to bring about a sexual revolution. Think about it. Free love, low moral standards, and then Phase 2, from 1962 to 1969, all about rebellion, long hair, the anti-establishment movement, protests, the rejection of traditional values. I mean, this was when the Beatles introduced America's youth to wacky Eastern religions, swelling the ranks of cults like the Hare Krishnas, the Children of God, the Democratic Party, and then Phase 3, the most devious phase of all, from 1969 to 1976, the devaluing of the quality of the music. Tone and harmony, the great qualities of music, became secondary to rhythm, that hypnotic beat and violent concussions. The music becomes an addiction now, a motivational trigger that cannot be resisted. It's like cocaine. And the final phase, 1977, disco and punk. I even made How Deep Is Your Love by the Bee Gees the song of the week on my radio show.
Coming this season from PBS, Lard, a film by Ken Burns.
Dear Alice, Johnny Reb has had us pinned down here for the better part of a week. I hope this letter makes it out to you. Captain Wilson told us not to worry, but the butter and the corn oil ran out 3 days ago. If it weren't for the lard, I don't know where we'd be. Did you know lard requires no refrigeration? Your loving husband, Alan.
The filmmaker who brought you baseball and the Civil War now turns his camera to the rendered fat of the swine in Lard, a film by Ken Burns.
So I says to my husband, Jimmy Dean, I says, Jimmy, you got the chops and the loin and the ribs and the snouts and the tails that go in the sausage and all. But isn't there something we could do with the fat? I mean, it's just sitting there and, so darn tasty.
Lard, a film by Ken Burns.
The Indians had a word for it, manteca. It meant blubber of the land whale, and they'd use it for cooking and building temporary shelter during the rainy season.
Lard, a film by Ken Burns. All this month on PBS. Programming made possible by a grant from the Abattoir Food and Hydrogenated Lard Company, a division of Dutchco Incorporated, Omaha, Nebraska.
Oh, another Sunday morning when I'd rather stay in bed than hear a warning about where I go when I'm dead. Your invisible friend, no better than the rest. We all come to a bitter end, no matter how many sneezes get blessed. pagan and I'm proud. Anything's allowed when you're pagan and you're proud.
That's the Stools. I'm pagan and I'm proud. Proud? I mean, these guys flaunting their relationship with the devil. They were so confused. They didn't even realize it. I mean, they thought that the devil was going to protect them, and they were going to surge who knows where with the help of the evil devil. But that was so far from the truth. You know, no matter how well you serve him, Satan is really only interested in bringing ongoing misery and final destruction to everybody, even his servants. And you know that song by the Police, the rock trio The Police, Sting's group, Wrapped Around Your Finger? Everyone thinks that's like a love song, so beautiful. It's not. It's about Mephistopheles bringing you into a different stage, another stage of an evil stage of existence. Mephistopheles, of course, comes from that opera in which Dr. Faust signs a compact. You know, he makes a deal with the devil, which causes him temporary success, but eventually he suffers a horrible death. I dug deep into my archives at charleslaquaderaradio.com for this one. It's I Just Want to Talk to Him, which people don't realize was actually the Stools' first single. They all think it's I'll Hold Your Beer. That's wrong. Al Floss first released I Just Want to Talk to Him in 1956, and then he quickly deleted it to avoid the public backlash. The fear of the Lord prolongeth days, but the years of the wicked shall be shortened. That's Proverb 10:27. Think it's wrong? Think again.
Tell me, have you met Jesus? Yes. Standing over there. He's the guy that didn't bring any beer with the long hair. He's checking in a motel under a pseudonym. He looks kinda scared, but I just want to talk to him. Have you met Buddha? He's 3 tables over. He's a chubby little fella that's nursing the hangover. So much for austerity. He's got 5 or 6 chins. He don't have to explain, but I just want to talk to him. Do you know Muhammad? He's got some explaining to do. It seems a lot of folks claim